I'm Megan Hills. We're recorded live in front of a brilliant studio audience at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky.
My daddy came home.
And here he is, ladies and
every day from
gentlemen,
there.
Mr. Jerry Springer.
Thank you.
And apparently a confused Gene Galvin.
Yeah. Gene, my gosh, we're on the air now.
I was
You
freaking
don't
out
say you're on the
because
air if it's a podcast, do you?
I got, and I think this is pretty exciting, and I was so anxious to tell this on the air, and I thought, oh my God, I don't have it.
Oh.
I do have it. I mixed up some stuff, but I got this envelope, and I can tell by the postmark and the outside address, it's something that you referenced recently, Jerry, that you heard, and apparently you are right. We have been nominated for some prestigious award for this podcast. And that's a big deal. Would you agree, Megan? You're not here much, I know. And we had just heard.
Well, I can swing by.
Yeah, appreciate your swinging by.
Yeah, you know, no
Here
big deal.
that
What is it,
next
Marlene
week-
or Megan?
Megan.
Knock it off.
And next week you're going to be in the
I'm gonna be-
Caribbean.
I'm gonna
Jerry
be
says
Caribbean.
Caribbean,
Yeah,
but you say Caribbean.
Yeah.
And anyway.
But yeah, that's a big deal. But I
It's a big
need
deal,
to know
so
what
I'm
it
gonna
is.
Was it
open
called
this
an
up.
Otis Award?
What is
Oh,
it?
see, this has apparently been on social media.
I've
but-
not heard
we
of
got
it.
Okay, here's
nominated
what
for
this
what?
says. This is a letter. I have the actual letter announcing this, and I'm going to read this. This is a letter from the Otis Awards Group, LLC. And it says, oh, in parentheses, see, I thought it was the elevator people. But they say we are not, capitals, all capitals, N-O-T, not associated with the elevator company. Let's don't let that stop us. But anyway, we have been nominated for this thing for Elevator Comics.
No.
That's why they call it the Otis Award.
That's why they call, well, that's why they do call it the Otis
Yeah.
Awards, but it
we
apparently.
won an Otis.
We could.
We
No,
could.
we've been nominated.
We've been
It's a
nominated
privilege
for an Otis.
just to be nominated.
Because
That's what I
Really?
think, Megan. Give me up high, girl.
privilege
That's
to
what
be
I
nominated.
think.
So
So
this
it
is-
says, well, I'm going to read the letter
Yeah,
because I
let's
haven't read
find
this
out.
yet. I had a bad
I got to
habit
be
of-
honest, I've never heard of the Otis Group LLC.
Fair
My
enough.
bad.
Oh, it's
Fair
big
enough.
time.
Is
That's a
it?
fair-
Okay. It's a small circle.
Well, they
a
don't
fair-
say the Oscars LLC. They say it's, we got nominated for an Otis.
We did. Got nominated. Well, it says it right here. We are pleased to announce that you have been nominated for a prestigious Otis Award. Oh, in the category of most creative. Nice. That's the category. For your elevator comics concept. We have not yet caught your act, but the feedback to our nominating committee was brisk and positive. That's pretty darn cool.
So wait, you were
The
what?
feedback.
Nominated for an
most
Otis,
creative?
in the category of most creative.
How could the feedback be brisk?
I don't know.
Maybe that's the best
Positive.
way they could listen to your act.
Well, that's how they put it, Jerry. I didn't write the
Not that
letter.
it was
Hey,
really
I didn't
good.
write
It
the
was
letter.
brisk.
It was no the feedback.
The feedback was
kept
it
coming and
quick,
coming
yeah.
and coming quickly.
You
and
would have
positive.
had to be on our elevator to have heard it.
Well, apparently they got
They were
reports
not. They
on
said
us.
so very clearly. They were not
look,
on your elevator.
Do you know?
Which may be why you're nominated.
No, listen. Folk School Coffee Parlor. Well, I think Folk School Coffee Parlor has received accolades from something like Cincinnati Magazine.
Yeah.
or
Oh,
entities
sure,
like that.
for the podcast.
That's because they get feedback that say, hey, you gotta
Yeah,
check
but
that
how
place
brisk
out.
is that?
Oh, the brisk.
No, but they get real feedback from like
Now,
actual
see, this is-
customers and
but wait a
patrons,
second,
not for the
people-
podcast, but
Yeah,
for what they're actually
No,
doing.
that's true.
People listening for the first time, okay? They don't know what we're talking about.
David, do you have the Elevator Comics ad?
Like,
The-
of course.
this
People know
spot
what we're talking
is
about.
running all across America.
Oh, my gosh,
And our
it's-
booker, Jerry and I
And
use
in our-
vernacular.
yeah.
Our booker
Gene.
Yeah.
is lining up. We haven't done it yet,
But
he's
also in
lining
our
up.
territory,
No.
not just in the 50 states, but in our territory.
In our territory. Huge in Puerto Rico.
England.
Puerto Rico.
And all the English Isles.
Oh, my
Well, because
gosh.
you were born in England.
Yeah,
David,
yeah.
play the
There.
elevator so people know what we're
My best
talking
friend
about.
dies
Sure.
every time she hears this.
Here we go.
Hey, I'm Jerry Springer.
I'm Gene Galvin.
And we're the Elevator Comics. We perform at some of the best elevators in the country, telling eye-watering jokes in as few as 2 floors. But we once entertained a car full of conventioneers stuck on the 14th floor for 40 minutes.
Call your favorite hotel and tell them that you want the Elevator Comics on your next ride. We're the hottest new act in the laughing world.
I seen Springer and Galvin in a hotel elevator in Jackson, Mississippi, and they was hilarious. Best 2-floor ride of my life.
Hey, Jerry, what were you saying to that guy in the lobby?
He was telling me he just bought the best hearing aid money can buy. I said, yeah, what kind is it? He said 4 o'clock.
The elevator comics were fast, topical, and usually family-friendly. But when the sun goes down, so do we. Our sizzling adult set starts nightly at 9.
The elevator comics. You'll never take the stairs again.
Guy says to me the other day on one of the rides, ballroom, please. I said, sorry, I didn't know I was crowding you. Okay, 6th floor, folks. Enjoy your stay and call the front desk if you need extra towels. Watch your step getting off. We forgot to pay the insurance bill.
Elevator comics are brought to you by Up and Down Productions.
You know, it's funny. While that ad was playing, here's what I'm curious about. Who are we competing with in the category of most creative?
It's an excellent
Because
point.
apparently, according to this letter, it's 3 people, 3 groups or entities or acts
Are
vying for
How
to
can
win
it be
most
creative in an
most
elevator?
creative.
Most creative.
I don't know, but that's what we're up for.
Well, maybe
for
it's some art.
Otis.
Maybe people paint things.
I don't know. Well, let's see.
Somebody
Here are two.
commented. Somebody commented online that it was named after Otis on Andy Griffith.
Huh.
Oh,
No kidding.
okay. All right. Here's who our
Thank you,
starting to get
interwebs.
expert.
Here's our competition. Oh,
Yes.
this is interesting.
Oh.
See, I haven't read this. Bunnies on the Elevators. This is an act from Orlando, Florida.
Hold on. These are all creative use of an elevator? It's that
Yes,
specific?
look, Megan, I just heard about
Didn't
this.
realize that.
I don't really know, but yeah.
Who would put bunnies on an
Well,
elevator?
let me read
What-
this, and maybe we'll
If you
find
walked
out.
onto an elevator and you saw bunnies hopping around there,
Oh, listen, no, it does make sense.
Oh, Playboy
This is an
bunnies?
act. No. Regular live.
on those
This is say human bunnies. No.
People want to like you.
Yeah,
God.
usually you have to go to the 3rd floor, but go ahead.
Bunnies on the Elevators from Orlando, Florida, where a motel allows live bunnies to run free in their elevators, giving children great delight. So that's why they do that there. They must think if you come down to Disney World, get on. You can see these kids saying, I want to go to that motel where they got the bunnies running around.
Well,
What's the other competition?
But
then?
when the
Here's the
doors
other one.
open, don't the bunnies
Oh,
run
this
out?
is good. I don't know.
Are we
I
really
think they're
having this
sedated.
conversation?
Apparently, they're
They're
kind
Oh,
of
well,
sedated.
that's
Sedated
horrible.
bunnies.
We're gonna- oh my God,
Okay, here's
we're
the
gonna
other
Peter
one.
yelling.
Here's our other competition. Because I think we can beat bunnies on the elevator. I don't think.
Yeah.
No, we can beat that.
I don't think we.
All right, here's this one
if
looks
you
a little
beat
tougher.
bunnies, you're going to be getting
PETA's gonna be
PETA
all
stuff
over you.
all over you. You can't
Okay,
go
the
around
second
beating
one
bunnies.
is. Oh my God, Jimmy Jim's rocket elevators. Oh my God, it's from Reno, Nevada,
There
where
you go.
Jimmy Jim has sped up his elevator motors, giving the motel riders a sensation of actual G-forces while they go up and down.
That's creative. I don't know if we
That's
can beat
pretty
that.
creative.
I don't think we can
Oh
beat
God!
that. Oh.
And it says Jimmy.
It's-
That's so stupid. And it
to
says
pick your
Jimmy
own
Jim
stuff.
requires that you have. What do you mean my own stuff? I don't write this stuff. Good thing the writer's strike got resolved. Hey, anyway, no, Jimmy Jim requires people to wear helmets on those. Oh, look at this. This is bull crap. It says here in parentheses, this is from the nominating committee.
LLC.
No, very creative. See, that makes it sound like they're kind of.
They're giving them Jimmy
I think
Jim's
they're
the
giving them
upper hand.
preference. Yeah. Okay, it says good luck. Please let us know how many guests you will be bringing to the dinner, to the awards dinner.
Where is this
Tickets
dinner?
cost $200 each. I think I get it. I think I
tell
get
you,
it, Megan. I think
we
it's
can win an
Bring anyone you want to about that.
And what does the
I
trophy
don't
look
care
like?
who it is.
What does the Otis statue
Your
look
thing,
like?
Jerry, I gotta tell you, you're
Does-
just
what do
way
they
too
give
into
you?
this.
Yeah, they do. You get a like a elevator. Kind of?
Yes, yeah, like with the door half open.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, I think you're a shoe-in, gentlemen, I really do.
Yeah, see, you're not.
Well, we could build support if we start hitting some of the elevators
It's
around
grassroots,
town.
man. Do your grassroots efforts.
We're here.
Let's ask people.
Let's go to all the big hotels here in Ludlow.
Okay.
Hop on the bus.
And do
It'll
what?
take you to the tour.
Do our act. Come
Well,
to
hell
Ludlow,
yeah.
Kentucky, and listen to our act. That will get. Look,
You know, I've never asked a question. Catfish, you have an elevator at the Folk School Coffee Parlor that goes up. You leave to go up. He's got a dumb waiter.
That could work.
I got a dumb act.
But I'm come. 7:30.
We don't have
You
to
know
be
what?
served food.
But Megan, I feel like you're demeaning Archie.
Yeah, you're-
Could I do that?
No.
Could I demean something
I
like
don't-
that, Gene?
no.
I don't.
Well, you
I
shouldn't.
I don't think it's possible.
Hey, look. Saturday, I went to Findlay Market in Cincinnati, which is an old, very traditional
great
open
place.
market.
Yep.
Wonderful
That's good
place.
stuff.
Very hip, down in a very hip, emerging neighborhood. And I saw acts, more than one, street performing, busking. You know, guy opens his guitar case, plays some music. One guy was playing stuff on the guitar and singing, and then his performing partner, and they would move about, and they'd always go where there was a garbage receptacle. The other guy's doing Congo drums on the top of this garbage receptacle. And I looked at that enviously, and I thought, and it got a little irritated, and bring up Catfish again. We performed here one night on our own podcast, the Jerry Springer Trio.
We did.
Do you remember it?
Trying to block it out, but yeah. I was here for that. Yeah.
Jerry, instead of Peter, Paul, and Mary, remember we had Paul Stuckey on a couple episodes ago. If you're hearing us for the first time, you got to go back and hear that's a great interview Jerry did with Paul Stuckey of Peter, Paul, and Mary. So this was Jerry, Megan, and Gene.
It's Jerry, Gene, and Megan. You got to, if it's Peter, Paul, and Mary, you got to, come on.
Okay, Jerry, Gene, and
Can
Megan.
we do marketing?
Why don't
No, I don't know. I'm not a word guy. You know? I'm a math guy.
Why don't I remember this?
What?
I don't remember this.
Yeah, there's the problem.
Wow.
even
you really
we
don't.
don't.
I mean, we stood right there.
Right there,
We
right in front of the
practiced.
shower curtain.
We didn't.
Right
We
there.
didn't.
We
We
rehearsed.
joined another group, right?
No,
No.
we performed.
Was I
as
here?
the
Jerry,
Jerry
we
Springer Trio.
rehearsed at
I'm
Gene's
losing it.
home.
We did.
Yeah.
We rehearsed.
Wow, buddy.
We came in and we
Wow,
did Megan,
We rehearsed
a
in your
set.
home.
We did as we call it in the performance.
In the
What did we
in the
sing?
biz, a set.
The Banks of Ohio, maybe?
Thanks to the Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
Down by the
Down by the
riverside.
riverside.
Oh, we
Yeah.
hardly ever do that.
We killed it. We killed it.
But this was still when Eileen was our closing song, so this
Irene
was not.
was, yeah.
And we let
Oh, yeah.
Irene good night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why have not our own, we employ these, well, you
Yeah.
employ these people. Why haven't they said, well, I got to get Jerry Springer Trio back into the rotation? It's like it never happened. It's
Because
like,
they remembered
maybe-
it.
Yeah, maybe they heard us.
They
were here.
They were here. They did hear.
See, that's it.
Yeah.
If you hear us, you're not going to ask us back.
Would you be willing, would the two of you be willing, some Saturday to go unannounced, just to do what they do? Walk down there, take out a guitar, and do a set, just like they do it.
Okay, a couple of summers ago, absolute true story. You and I and our wives, we go up to Charlevoix, Michigan.
With Louis Beck and
With Louis
Patty,
Beck,
his
Patty,
wife.
right. And we have a lovely weekend there, the three
Wonderful.
couples. And you had your guitar.
Correct.
And you opened your guitar, and on the main street there, if you've ever been to Charlevoix, it's a lovely little town.
It was a bet. I said, I'll go busk in downtown Charlevoix.
You
You guys
opened your
said,
guitar,
there's no way.
and we didn't want to stand next to you because it was embarrassing.
No, you did not.
So
You
we
were across the street.
We were across the street to watch you to see if you started singing, and
Just like they do.
and people walk by. Would people either stop and listen and throw a couple of quarters in, throw $1
They
in?
did that, didn't they?
No. That was amazing.
That's
We
my
were there-
memory.
We were there for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's true.
One guy came and started talking to you, but he never put money in. He just kept, he was a nice guy.
You know what he did?
What?
He left and he says, hey, I've got my harp in my truck, his
Yeah.
harmonica. He says, can I go get my harp and join you? And I said, hell yeah. And then I think he threw in some money because I told him I'd give it back to him. It's an
Yeah.
image thing. He went to his truck, got his harp, came back, and he did some stuff. You know, he backed me.
Yeah. But you made nothing.
I didn't make any.
Gene's not great with financials. If we haven't figured this out yet, this is
You
not
would have
his
made
price
more
point.
money if you were just begging so you could get a sandwich.
Yeah, if I just begged.
If you
Said,
just
"Could
would have
you
said,
please
people
give
walk
me-
by, I'm
could you
hungry,
please
you
give me
got some
money?"
change. You would have made more than with the singing.
All right,
and it
that-
wasn't, because you really sang pretty well.
Thank you.
We were sitting there saying, hey, he's pretty good.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
people would walk, most people walked by and ignored him.
Yeah.
But once in a while, someone would walk by, they'd stop, and they just,
Then they started walking.
it's disheartening. See, I couldn't do that.
About
My
4 years
ego
ago.
wouldn't handle that.
Yeah,
The
I
rejection
understand.
would be.
Yeah, they could
Oh.
have rejection.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
true.
About 4 years ago. So this is like in real time. This is not 15 years ago. I pitched an article. I write a lot of articles for Cincinnati Magazine. And I pitched an idea to him. I want to ask you if you'll do this then, if you won't busk. I called him up and I said, got an idea for an article back in 1961 to nail down the exact date. I went to school every day in high school, and then I went to college every day for the first 2-3 years of college. I hitchhiked. Do you remember hitchhiking?
Yes.
Thumbing, you know, stick your
Yes.
thumb out,
No.
get a ride.
Yeah.
My dad called it bumming rides.
Yep.
I
We
went
weren't
to
allowed
my-
to do that.
I went, I was going to ask if you ever did that.
No.
Okay. Yeah, you probably shouldn't have.
No, well, you know.
Did you ever do that?
No, my chauffeur would take me to.
Yeah.
This
You would
one
put your
time
thumb out and feel good. Oh, I hitchhiked it
Yeah,
because your
ooh, it's
chauffeur
cool
would
today.
pull out.
The chauffeur would.
They had
Yeah.
a separate driver.
Yeah.
one day.
And that there, you know, in that century, that's a difference, a
I
cultural
think his
difference.
name was Thorndike.
Thorndike.
Thorndike drove me.
I'll tell- The truth
To
is,
school every day.
The truth is, in middle school, high school, Jerry, college, you were
Yes.
regular person, middle class family, and I was too, by the way. We've talked about this, all kidding aside. You know, we're the same kind of upbringing. But I pitched to Cincinnati Magazine that I would then, like I said, it's about 4 years ago. I will go back to the same places at this age, 70-ish, I guess, when I did this, and I will hitchhike to all those same places. Just today, me. And my editor listened, and there was dead silence over the phone. She said, that's a great idea, but this article will never happen. Why not? You won't get one ride. Nobody's going to pick you up. I told my wife I was going to do this, and she said, nobody will pick you up. So I'll be waiting by my cell phone to come get you. I went out for a week. I hitchhiked all over greater Cincinnati,
And you were picked
northern Kentucky. I got rides everywhere.
Yeah.
If I stuck
Really?
my thumb out, I got rides. And the article
Were you
was
wearing
about,
a short skirt?
no, you know what I did? Because there's a lot of it's about the appearance. I looked like, because I'd always say to people, why'd you pick me up? And they'd say, figured you were, first of all, college professors, how they identified me. That's what they saw.
I could see that. Yeah.
Actually had on blue jeans, sport coat, T-shirt, and
Your
computer
satchel,
case
yeah.
over my shoulder. I had one time 5 cops go by, the slow roll, county sheriffs. And boy, they looked at me, all 4 of them. And I thought, man, if they stop and bust me, the article gets way better.
Sure.
Because I knew the law. I knew the law. The law was I could do this. And the 5th one came by, and the window goes down, and he said, nobody knew who I was, and he said, do you know right behind you is a bus stop? And I said to this cop, I do. I said, but I'm writing an article for Cincinnati Magazine about hitchhiking, comparing it to when I did it as a kid, and I grew up right there, pointed to the building where above my dad's store. And he cracked up and he said, yeah, good luck. And he drove off, and I saw him get on the radio, and he called the dispatch to say, because they're all saying, what the hell's this guy doing?
What's wrong with this guy? Yeah.
So bad.
Bus stop, he said.
And everybody,
There's a
I
bus
got
stop.
right, and that became the article about how I could get rides today, and what the law is, and what the danger level is. By the way,
Sure.
it's no different than in the 60s. The statistics show it, no
Really?
different than the 60s. Just as bad, just as good, no different. So, and women, of course not.
Yeah. There was only one time my car had broken down. I was probably 17 years old, and it wasn't far from work. Car broke down on 275 by Erlanger, and I had to start walking. And I think I was terrified, absolutely terrified. And this woman who was probably in her mid-30s pulled over, and And like I saw her stop, and like she was looking in her rearview mirror, and I was looking at her, and I went, oh God, I was just terrified. You don't know. And I finally walked up, and she said, did your car break down? I said, it did. And she goes, I'm the manager of this store right here. Well, it turns out she was the district manager that I was going to meet that day at work. It just happened to be. It just happened to be.
Yeah.
That's the only time that I've ever been stranded. But there were like 3 other cars that had kind of slowed down and stopped, and I was just palm sweating. I could hear my father in my head, like, you don't get in the car. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm still thinking, like, sitting in this woman's car, like, I'm going to get killed. I'm going to get killed. My body's going to get dumped on the side of the highway. But
And that occasionally does happen. I'm
Sure
just saying
does.
it's no different
Sure.
today.
Yeah.
Yep, thanks for reminding me of that, Jane. That does
Yeah.
happen.
And by the way, there was
Well,
one.
we could get someone else to be on
Yeah,
the mic
and
here.
somebody that doesn't take vacations every 3 shows.
It's not like we're not covered.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, seriously, Megan next week, and we joke about it. Megan is always here, and last week, and we
Except
explained
last
it.
week and
Well, you
2
had a
weeks
flight,
ago and
but
5
that wasn't
weeks
your
ago.
fault.
We're going to redo my contract.
No, but
Harassment
she
on
has
the
a
air.
previously scheduled vacation,
Yes.
and we're very happy for
Yeah,
her.
yes.
Going on a cruise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, going on a cruise.
It's exactly a year since we went to Cuba.
It is exact. We left on May 11th last year.
Yeah, I remember.
Yep.
What a cool. Thank you, Jerry, for
Yeah,
that.
that
Oh,
was
that was
shucks,
good
guys.
for the
You don't have to.
podcast, but
It was
my
so
God,
cool.
what a
That was
experience
fun. Yeah,
that
I'd
was.
like to do it again.
Yeah,
Pick
that was
another
pretty
country.
cool.
Yeah,
You know, and speaking of all that,
I think we should go to
You just
Syria.
said it. You just said it on air. Pick another country. Everybody heard that, right?
Yeah.
So, we're doing it. So sorry, buddy.
I heard it.
Well, Gene suggested space.
Space. Yeah, I propose we go into space. Yeah. Well, Cat. Yeah. Anyway, you know, and speaking of all that stuff, who is in charge, Jerry? Is it Trump or is it somebody else?
Yeah,
How's that for a segue?
That was not a segue.
I have this, not theory, I mean, just, you can't help as you're watching the news and everything that's taking place in the, quote, first 100 days and all that. You know, we're all obsessed with Trump, what he said today, what he tweeted today. And I really am believing that Trump is just a sideshow. He's a distraction from what is really happening. And except for one thing, which I'll get to at the end, he's basically irrelevant. He's not the power of the throne at all. We've talked on prior occasions of him basically being a puppet, and a puppet of at least 2 wings of the Republican Party. I don't know that an animal can have 3 wings, but let's assume just for the moment that there are 2 major wings of the Republican Party. There's the Bannon wing, which is the nationalist wing. And that story, just briefly again, is Bannon is someone who has a very strongly held belief system. He believes that the apocalypse is coming, that we're facing a clash of civilizations, that in our not too distant future, the world will be Christianity versus Islam, and we must prepare for this apocalypse, for this clash of civilizations. And he believes that the best way to get America prepared for that is for America to become ethnically pure, as he defines it, basically Christian and white. So his belief is we should do everything to make America Christian and white, in total disregard of what America stands for. He believes we can no longer be a multicultural society. And so what he does is he wants to ban Muslims, he wants to deport Mexicans, he wants to disenfranchise African Americans, blacks. And so everything is against all these groups, to make America basically Christian and white, and then we'll be pure enough to take on the clash of civilizations against Islam. This is his view. This is not, I'm not being accusatory here. I mean, obviously I don't like that point of view, but this is what he boldly writes about, talks about in interviews, you know, so that this is what he believes. And he and a few other people were looking for a candidate, because it's no good to just have a view if you don't have someone that has an office of power. So they were looking for candidates for the past decade. For a while, as I mentioned earlier, they looked at Sarah Palin, because what they were looking for is a empty vessel. They were looking for someone with no political philosophy that they could then put into this person's mind. If that person was electable, they were merely looking for someone who was electable and then didn't have a political philosophy so they could inject their own. And they saw that in Sarah Palin, but of course she self-destructed in a few weeks, and that was the end of that. And then they looked for a while this past election cycle, they looked at Ted Cruz, but he had too strong beliefs. So even though a lot of his beliefs maybe were consistent with Bannon's, he was too much, he believes too strongly on his own, he's too strong of a figure, so they couldn't control him. But here comes Trump, who doesn't read books. You know, we just saw a recent example of his lack of knowledge of history, talking about Andrew Jackson in the Civil War, though he died 16 years before the Civil War, you know, and he thought that Frederick Douglass was still alive. I mean, Trump knows nothing about history. He's never been interested in it. He's a real estate guy or a guy who builds buildings and wants to put his name on it, but he had no political philosophy. It doesn't make him a bad human being, it's just he never studied it. But all of a sudden, he loves being famous. And, you know, he's a narcissist. He needs people to say, you're great, you're wonderful, you're the best, etc. And when they don't say it, he says it himself. So, all of a sudden, Bannon sees him. This is perfect. This is a guy who, he's famous, maybe we can get him elected. He has no political philosophy. He'll be happy to take anything because he doesn't know what to talk about. We'll give it to him. So that's the power behind the throne. They get Trump elected, and then Bannon works himself to be, well, first he gets himself to be head of the campaign, and then once elected, he gets himself to be the chief advisor to Trump. He even got himself for a while appointed to the National Security Council, got rid of the generals or the Joint Chiefs of Staff. In other words, so he was really going to be the king. Well, he overstepped his bounds. People saw what he was doing, so they kind of pushed him out a little bit. But anyway, you have Bannon pulling the strings of this nationalist fervor, which results in Trump saying we ought to have a ban against Muslims and stuff like that. Thankfully, we still have courts that stop that. But that's the one force pulling the strings on Trump. The other, which is probably what is going to disappoint the Trump voters who initially had voted for him, and maybe the last election had voted Democrat, may have voted for Obama. It's, you know, what we call the mostly rural but small town, middle America and southern white voter who feels legitimately, by the way, forgotten, and saw in Trump someone that would shake up the system and were willing to vote for Trump, not because they have a political philosophy, but just, oh, he's a crazy guy, I saw him on television, let's vote for him, he'll blow up the system, and maybe now we'll get some help. The sadness, though, is that what we are finding is that everything he promised these people, they are about to find out in time that they've just been screwed. That everything that's being done now, it's basically hurting lower and middle income people. We can talk about that later and even on another podcast. Anyway, but that group, the group, by the way, that is still in charge after all this election year talk about Wall Street and the establishment and the Republican Party establishment is finished and all that garbage. Wall Street and the Republican establishment, the military establishment, anything that you saw as the Republican bulwark is still in charge. They are getting everything they want. They are still in charge of Trump. The most obvious display is that virtually everyone in his cabinet or around him is a former Goldman Sachs CEO. Wall Street executives are basically putting all of Trump's policies together. And what you now see is Trump, by having the strings pulled, is doing everything that big business wants. Number one, doing away with all regulations. Number two, doing away with all environmental regulations which interfere with business. And number 3, proposing change in the tax laws, which are wonderful for me, wonderful for wealthy people, and screw everybody else. Specifically, the new tax laws, for example, would, number 1, he wants to do away with the estate tax. Number 2, he wants to drop corporate taxes to 15%. It's now 35 to 39%, based on how they work it. They want to drop it to 15%. This is exactly what Wall Street wants, to have the corporate taxes reduced. And the most sinister part is to change the law that would give the opportunity to some wealthy businessmen to be able to create a, quote, LLC and have their personal income be counted as corporate profits. In other words, make themselves personally into a corporation. So now, instead of rich people having to pay 40% federal income tax, they now only have to pay 15% under this new proposal. He is basically giving away the shop to wealthy, not just Wall Street, but just wealthy people. He's perfect for me if I wanted to be selfish. I mean, talk about, whoa. And everybody else? Here's how the middle class gets ruined by these policies. Wall Street, perfect. Business, perfect. Low taxes, do away with regulations, do away with environmental regulations. Go do whatever you want to do. But for the individual, regular people get screwed. And the reason they do is when there's less money being paid in taxes, less revenue is being collected. And so the government goes into further debt. There's a greater deficit, which means the government has to borrow money. Well, when the government has to borrow money to pay its bills every year because they're not getting as much tax revenue in, the way they do it to borrow money is to raise interest rates. In other words, what's going to convince you to go and buy government bonds, which is loaning the government money? You'll do it only if you have a greater interest return on your money than you do when you buy stocks. So all of a sudden, the government says, buy our bonds and we'll raise it to 4%, 5%. Interest rates go up. Well, if the government is suddenly offering all these high interest rates to get money, then every other business that wants to borrow money to expand its business, they have to compete. So they have to raise their interest rates too. So the economy does not grow. Just the opposite. This trickle-down theory that if you give rich people a tax break, the economy is going to work because they're going to go out and hire more people, that's garbage. Business doesn't hire more people because their taxes are lower. They only hire more people if demand is greater, if people are buying their product. Let's say there's a car that you think is ugly. You don't like that car. You think because your taxes are lower, you're going to buy the car you don't want? No. If there is the demand for what you're creating, if there's a demand for the iPhone, if creativity makes something that the consumers want, then you hire more people because we got to make more of these phones. We got to have more of these cars. Whatever it is you're trying to sell. So the only way you grow the economy is increasing demand. But if you raise interest rates, you can't increase demand because everything, including your home mortgage, is suddenly more expensive. This is what is happening with Trump. He doesn't know anything about this. His strings are being pulled. But big business is getting everything it wants. Everything. And we're all screaming about Trump's tweets like that's the problem. When the little guy that thought we better not vote for Hillary, she's close to Wall Street, you've been scammed. This is all Wall Street. Remember, just look at the headlines the last week. Big business. We're doing away with regulations. We're doing away with environmental regulations, and we're lowering the taxes of big business. And by the way, when the federal government gets less money in, they have to cut programs that affect middle and lower income people. And if the federal government doesn't have money to give the states anymore because they don't have enough money, that means the states have to pick up these programs, which means state taxes have to be increased. So if you think you're getting a break in your federal tax, your overall tax bill is not going down. Your state taxes, your local county taxes, your school taxes, all that stuff goes up. And by the way, that's a more regressive tax. The sales tax is regressive. It's not based on how much money you have or earn. Everybody pays the same sales tax, rich people and poor people. And that is what is happening. It has nothing to do with Trump. He's the puppet. But Wall Street and big business are still running the show.
Good analysis, Jer. Hey, if you ever wondered, and I happen to have
I'm going to give that speech when I win the Otis.
You got, oh, see? Thank you.
Talk about
'Cause
demand,
that was-
creating demand.
Yeah, creating
Holy
demand.
cow.
What the heck would we say if we win that? The rocket
What were you
rise,
thinking?
I think, is
Do you-
great.
Gene, I think you should just go home and just go ahead and write that acceptance speech. Just have it
I don't
ready.
know.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
mean,
good.
the
That's an
bunnies on the
assignment.
elevators,
That's your
I'm not worried
assignment.
about them.
Go
Yeah.
ahead and write.
Rocket rise, Jimmy Jim's rocket rise, Reno, Nevada. That one worries me, I will admit.
Got a little heat
Want
under the
it-
collar there.
There you go. I want to ask Andrew Hibbard to come up here, please, and let's give Andrew a round of applause. Long time ago, probably was 60-something, early 60s, I was lucky enough to see Bob Dylan when he was on his first tour. And you may have seen him too, Jerry, in the early days, or certainly through
I gave him a key to the city.
That's right.
You want to just have someone that'll ruin every story you've ever told.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But you were sitting in row 47 at some stadium concert.
That's true.
Good. You are so lucky.
True, Taft
You have no
Auditorium.
friends.
No.
I'd be nice to him.
I know.
Yeah, right.
You're right. Oh, it's all right.
Anyway, if you're wondering what Bob Dylan looked like, sounded like, and what his spirit was, he was a young troubadour. Andrew Hibbard, and this is the second time on our show, and we love Andrew and the music that he does. But he really, and I'm not saying that Andrew Hibbard tries to be this, but he strikes me from my memory as what Dylan looked like, sounded like. And he does his own, writes his own songs.
Yeah, I had you more as Joan Baez, but no.
Now, that's a smart ass.
Yeah,
You know?
that's not a quip.
No, that's smart. Anyway, Andrew, do a song for us, and then we'll talk on the other side of it. Thanks.
This one's called One Percenter.
Okay.
It's a little about what Jerry was talking about a little bit ago.
Nice.
I am a 1%er. Hello, girls and boys. I am a 1%er. What you tried to build, I will destroy. My children are all swell while yours work and they slave, and I make what you make in 10 years and 2 days. I wear all my jewelry that I'll take to my grave, 'cause I'm a 1%er, and I'm 1% of the world. I am a 1%er, living in the land of the free. I am a 1%er, and you will never take my money from me. A million is fine, a billion is mine, a trillion and I still will not draw the line. So get you a glass and just toast to my wine, 'cause I'm a 1%er. sinner, and I'm 1% of the world. Yodelay, 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 yodelay. I own 300 shares inside of the complex and military. So line up all you young boys and be the best you can be. Take this fine rifle and use it with skill, and if it plays out the wrong way, it just was God's will. I'll reap all the profits, so kill or be killed, 'cause I'm a 1%er, and I'm 1% of the world. My children are all taught my values, to value the heart-wrenching greed. My children are all taught by their daddy, and they want to be just like me. They attend Harvard and Ivy League school, where honor and respect are only for fools. Here's a drop while I swim in my pool, 'cause I'm a 1%er, and I'm 1% of the world. Thank you.
There really haven't been that many times when a song's been written about me. I really appreciate I want to thank you so much.
You know, I compared.
Same thing as he was singing it.
I compared Andrew to Dylan.
That was great, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
But that sounded a whole lot. I was reminiscent of, because I never say somebody's copying somebody else, but it was reminiscent of Woody Guthrie. And I'll assume you've studied some Woody Guthrie music.
Oh, I love
your
Woody
life.
Guthrie, yeah.
Okay, there you go. But that sounded like a Woody Guthrie song of if Woody Guthrie was alive today. That's a real compliment to you.
Oh,
Andrew,
thank
for
you.
doing
Thank
that.
you. I appreciate it.
That's a really well-written
superb.
song
Yep.
and really in tune with the times. You have a record that you just recorded on an old school tape recorder, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. And that's coming out soon, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna go mix and master it this Sunday up in Dayton.
Okay.
With the producer who did it. Zach Gabbard is a guy in a band called Buffalo Killers. And
all right.
He played around. You know, he toured with the Black Crows and with
nice.
the Black Keys.
Right. So
And
these are
all
good
things black.
bands, yeah. Right.
Yeah. And well, he also toured the White Stripes, so just colors.
Yeah, there you go.
He's not discriminatory.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
everybody.
He goes with both, except Mexicans.
Yeah.
But no, I'm kidding. He called me up one day, and I didn't know the number or anything, and I thought he was trying to sell me something. So
Yeah.
I didn't really. I hung up on him, and then I believe he called me back, and then he was like, "No, I want to do a record with you. I got an old tape machine, and I heard your old record, and want you to come in and try it on this." And I said, okay. So I got my friend Chris Erbacher, who plays lap steel, and my friend Dan Peterson, who plays drums, and we went up there and recorded it in a day. I think it was 11 or 12 songs on it, and
Nice.
we got to go mix and master it, and hopefully going to be getting that done and making it.
Good.
Good
So,
deal.
very
Watch for
nice.
you.
If people want to hear your music, how do they do it? Do you have a Facebook
Yeah,
presence?
you can go
or
on Facebook, my website, andrewhibbard.com. You can go on.
Hibbard, first name
Hibbard.
Andrew, A-N-D-R-E-W, and then hibbard.com.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. You can do that, or you can go on all the streaming sites, Spotify, Bandcamp.
good.
You can go on all those.
Good. Do a second song for us. This
Yeah,
one's
sure.
called Changes, right?
Yep. This one's called Change.
Okay. Andrew
Is
Hibbard.
this about me?
No, it's about the change that I have.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
Universally.
Changes, 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 oh come on to me. Looks, feelings, and mostly my little memory. My cheeks have declined and my nose, it can quite hardly breathe. And my liver has processed a body quite like the sea. Somewhere I know that peaceful place just waits for me. So until then I'll change, until I'm set free. My voice has grown coarse and my veins, they've seen misery. And my blood, it was thinned while a black tar grinned patiently. Mama, 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 please don't look at me. 'Cause these changes I've gone through might make me quite hard to see. Somewhere I know that peaceful place just waits for me. So until then I'll change, until I'm set free. Changes, 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 oh come on to me. Looks, feelings, and mostly my little memory. Mama, 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 please don't look at me. 'Cause these changes I've gone through might make me quite hard to see. Somewhere I know that peaceful place just waits for me. So until then I'll change, until I'm set free. So until then I'll change, until I'm set free.
Bravo!
Thank you.
Andrew Hibbard. Hey, by the way,
Thank you.
and I learned this as I came in, Andrew brought his own guitar and then broke a string, and so he's playing a house guitar, right,
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
this on. And from the basement of the Folk School Coffee Parlor, of which there are a number of guitars, and some are pretty decent. That's a
Yeah.
decent guitar.
Yeah, it's an old one. I like it a whole lot.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
Hey, take us out on Down by the Riverside, and maybe you let Jerry Springer join you
Yeah, sure.
on
Yeah.
the second.
Good
Let's do it.
decision.
Let's do it, Jerry.
Andrew Hibbard, Jerry Springer, Down by the Riverside. Because we are down by the Riverside.
Exactly.
The river's right behind
Yes.
us.
Yeah, no, it's in front.
I'm gonna lay my heavy load down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay my heavy load
down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. You all come back now, you hear?